This is part 2 to my previous video, so if you have not watched that video, go back and watch it and then come back to this one. I did say in that video that there will be no duplicates. This video will have 2 duplicates from that first video, but no duplicates in this video. And we're going to start out with one of those duplicates with the Los Angeles Dodgers, and I'm going to be talking about Shohei Ohtani. This is a pretty obvious pick for the Dodgers. Even though they really need starting pitching, I think Shohei Ohtani needs to be the next big player that they sign. They need a designated hitter. They need Shohei Ohtani. They need to ignite that franchise and that fan base. Go out, get Shohei Ohtani, match him up with Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman. Wow, that lineup is insane. They also need starting pitching, like I said, but in 2025, Shohei Ohtani will give you both starting pitching and hitting. So that's a player that you should go out and get. He's obviously the best free agent available. He's the best player in MLB. The Dodgers have a lot of money to spend. That would be the player that they need to get. The Giants have been looking for a right-handed power bat for a while now, and I think this is the offseason where they have to land it. Last offseason, they looked at Aaron Judge and Carlos Correa and were not able to land either of those 2 bats. This season, I think that they are going to go after Matt Chapman, and I think that's a great fit for this team. They need a little bit of help on the infield and right-handed bats, so Matt Chapman fits both of those holes pretty well. Matt Chapman is a power hitter with platinum defense, and he can just help teach a lot of those young players how to properly field at MLB level. I think this is just pretty much a match made in heaven. It's basically like Carlos Correa, but with less injury concern and a smaller contract. I think this is what the Giants have to do to finally get their right-handed hitter. The Diamondbacks just came off of a World Series loss, and I think that they need one thing specifically, and that's a big veteran presence. They also kind of need a third baseman / designated hitter, so I think that this guy fits perfectly. And that guy is Justin Turner. Justin Turner is coming off of one of the best seasons of his career as his only season as a Boston Red Sox. He is now a free agent, and I think Arizona would be silly to not look deep into Justin Turner's resume, even though they already know it. Justin Turner has absolutely destroyed baseballs at Chase Field all throughout his career since he played so much there as a Dodger. I think he's the perfect veteran leadership that this clubhouse needs to help develop the players and turn them into World Series winners, not just players. This is a match made in heaven for the Diamondbacks. The Rockies are in a similar boat to what I was talking about last episode with some of the American League teams, where one player is not going to help them. However, I think it'd be really fun if Joey Gallo went to the Colorado Rockies. Let's make it happen. Coors Field plus Joey Gallo. Let's see some of the furthest home runs ever hit in real games. That's what Joey Gallo would do at that stadium. I would be so interested in watching that. I think it might ignite the fan base a little bit too. Give you some extra defense, give you some extra power. I don't know. It's not like it's going to be league shattering, but it'd be fun to watch. So Joey Gallo to the Rockies, why not? And the San Diego Padres are in this weird limbo where they had to take out a loan last offseason because they spent too much money, but they've spent so much money that they can't just like not try anymore and give up because they can't do that. They have to go out and win. So I think that the best way to do that is to sign a pitcher like Jordan Montgomery. He's not going to be the most expensive pitcher on the market. He will be expensive, and rightfully so, because he is very good. However, he's going to be a lot cheaper than somebody like Blake Snell or Aaron Nola. And since you're probably going to be losing Blake Snell, you do have to replace him with a guy like Jordan Montgomery, in my opinion. It's a downgrade, but you kind of have to do it with the financial situation that you're at right now. Go out and get Jordan Montgomery, and I think you have a pretty successful backup plan to Blake Snell, in my opinion. Not the best, but it's what you have to do. The Chicago Cubs are another team that's in a weird spot. I think that they might be losing both Marcus Stroman and Cody Bellinger this offseason, which seriously makes their team worse. But I think that they need a first baseman and a right-handed hitter, and you can combine both of those and get CJ Cron. He's not the greatest player of all time, but he is a veteran that knows how to win, and he's a pretty good hitter still, even though he's getting older. Again, I don't think that they're going to be super aggressive because they kind of can't if they lose Bellinger and Stroman, because I don't know what they're going to do So I just think that CJ Cron is someone that they could use. He's not like the answer to their problems, but I just don't know what they're gonna do. I don't want to say one of the other starting pitchers, because if they're gonna do that, they should just go out and get Stroman. So CJ Cron for the Cubs. The Milwaukee Brewers need one thing, and that one thing is offense. And I think they need a DH more than just about anything else. I think JD Martinez is a perfect fit for the Brewers. They're a very young team with a lot of rookies coming up last season and very new players, and they're going to need to learn how to handle the ins and outs of the season better than they already have. A lot of their rookies were really good, but JD Martinez is one of those players that clubhouses love having. He's very good at teaching young players how to go about the game professionally, and I think he'd mesh pretty well with that Milwaukee clubhouse. They did just lose their manager, which might make their pitching a little bit worse. However, they really got to focus on offense this offseason. Go out and get JD Martinez. That's a good way to start. The St. Louis Cardinals, I do not think are going to be satisfied with being bottom dwellers for another season, and I think they're going to go out and spend a lot of money this offseason. And I think a lot of it is going to go to former Philadelphia ace Aaron Nola. I think the Cardinals have too big of a franchise and too much pride, too big of a fan base to constantly be bottom dwellers again. They know that they need a starting pitcher. They know that they need a true ace. Adam Wainwright's retiring. He wasn't that good this year, but they still need a new true ace. I think Aaron Nola might be that guy. He's pitched in the National League throughout his career. He's been really good in big games throughout his career. I think Aaron Nola and the St. Louis Cardinals might be a pretty good match. The Pirates are another weird team here that it doesn't really matter what they do. Although they are on the verge of contending, it's just the Pirates don't really spend. I think the Pirates are also going to be losing Andrew McCutchen this offseason, who was pretty good. I think you guys should try to replace him with Lourdes Gurriel Jr. It's not the greatest replacement of all time, but Lourdes is probably better than McCutchen at this point in his career. And again, it's kind of like that other thing where he's kind of a veteran now, so he's kind of a leader in the clubhouse. He can kind of teach people how to go about business. I think it would be an interesting fit for them. It wouldn't be league shattering like the thing with the Rockies, but I feel like it's a name to kind of maybe sell a couple extra tickets, maybe trade them at the deadline. The Pirates are also kind of competing a little bit, so another bat would never hurt. And the final team for the NL Central is going to be the Cincinnati Reds, and they need a starting pitcher badly. They failed at the trade deadline by not trading for a starting pitcher, and it came back and cost them as they missed the playoffs. This offseason, I don't think they'll make the same mistake, and I think they're going to go out and land an ace like Sonny Gray. Sonny Gray was on the Reds at one point in his career. I think that they might try to get a reunion with Sonny Gray because I think it just makes a lot of sense. He's not going to be the most expensive starting pitcher on the market, but he is just about as good as any of the starting pitchers on the market. He pitched well in Cincinnati when he was there previously, and I think that it's just something that ownership might be open to doing. They're not going to go out and spend that much money on a Blake Snell or an Aaron Nola, I don't think. So they need a tier 2 pitcher instead of those big tier 1 guys. I think Sonny Gray will be at the top of their list. I think it helps their team out tremendously. The final division for this 2-part series is the NL East, and we're going to be starting out with the New York Mets. The Mets are another weird team. They said that they're going into rebuild in 2024, and I believe them. So I don't think that they're going to be spending very much money. I think that they might go after a guy like David Robertson to try to fix their bullpen a little bit. That's who I'm going to say their pick will be. Again, maybe this is a guy that you trade at the trade deadline if things go wrong, but I think they'll try to get David Robertson back on a 1-year deal, maybe a 1-year deal with an opt-out or something. I don't know exactly. The Mets are in a bad situation. I don't think that David Robertson fixes very much, but I do think it's pretty much one of the most realistic options for the Mets. Maybe they go out and spend money because they do have Steve Cohen, and he is kind of a psychopath, but I personally don't think that they should do that. Who knows what they're gonna do. The Nationals are another one of those teams that just really need veteran presence and power wherever they can find it. So I think that signing Rhys Hoskins would be a pretty good signing for them. Rhys Hoskins is almost definitely gone from the Phillies with the news that Bryce Harper is now the permanent first baseman. So Rhys Hoskins will need to find a new home. And coming off of a serious injury, I'm not sure how many contenders will be super in on him. So maybe just going to like the Nationals on a 1-year deal to reset your market and maybe help out that young team just a little bit might be the right fit for both sides. I'm not super sold on this one. I don't really know what the Nationals are planning on doing this offseason, but I think that they could get Rhys Hoskins for pretty cheap, and he could help some players there develop just a little bit extra. The final duplicate of this series is going to be the Atlanta Braves, and I think they should sign Josh Hader. I really like their rotation. Their offense is historically good, and again, their bullpen, it's good, it's solid, but it's just not great. They really kind of need a back-end bullpen guy. I know they have Raisel Iglesias, who's really solid, but you can't compete with Josh Hader when it comes to some of the best pitchers in the league. Nobody on the Braves is even close to Josh Hader's talent, so just go out and get a closer that's pretty much unbeatable. Why not? Make Josh Hader your big move, and man, the Braves are going to be very, very tough to beat. The Phillies. I said that they're going to be losing Aaron Nola to the Cardinals in this video, and they're going to have to replace him, and I think that they will with an even bigger pitcher, a guy who's going to be the NL Cy Young winner in Blake Snell. That would be a crazy signing, but Dave Dombrowski is a bit reckless with his signings, especially pitchers coming off of really good seasons. So I think Blake Snell might be headed to Philadelphia. I don't know how many teams are going to be in on Blake Snell, probably a lot, but he has weird metrics, and the way that the Phillies like to do things is by getting players with weird metrics, like Kyle Schwarber and Nick Castellanos. They don't care about defense, they don't care about walks, they don't care about anything, so I think Blake Snell kind of fits perfectly into that mold of, oh, we'll just strike everybody out so we don't need defense. It's kind of a perfect match, honestly. I think it could happen. Blake Snell to the Phillies feels like something that could happen, especially if they lose Aaron Nola. And the final team of this list, sadly, I think this is a little bit of a dud. It's a pretty good player going to a playoff team, but it's just not that interesting. I have the Miami Marlins getting Mitch Garver. Mitch Garver put up a good season with the Rangers, where obviously he got a World Series ring. So now I think maybe it's just time to go back and settle out in Miami for a little bit. Why not? He had a good season, and the Miami catching situation is pathetic. Jacob Stallings has really taken a step back both as a defender and as a hitter, and he was never a good hitter as it was. So I don't know. I feel like they kind of need a catcher. Mitch Garver is kind of the best catcher on the market, even though he's not like an elite catcher, but I think that that's kind of their best match. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing and turning on post notifications. Comment anything that you disagreed with, like the video if you liked it, and YouTube thinks you'll love this video. So if you enjoyed this one, why not check out this one as well? Thank you for watching.